So first of all, how's my hair? I'm going for a certain look. Going for butch, yet not brutal. Right? Short, slick, yet still sensitive. Right? No, it's very important, it is. So you gotta find the right barber, you know, because, less than satisfying roll in the hay with a perfect stranger, that you can shake off in a couple of days, right? But a bad haircut, that kind of emotional pain takes time to heal. You know? And I got this gig in Ottawa a few years ago, and I was there for 8 months, and so I got to town, and I made the mistake of stumbling into this kind of fancy, high-end salon on Bank Street, smack dab in the middle of gay town there. I was desperate. I didn't know where I'd been there for a while. Things were getting bad. My bangs were in my eyes. I couldn't see my ears, you know? And didn't know where to go. And so I stumbled out about an hour later, back out onto Bank Street with a haircut that was like, I don't know, 3.5 millimeters shorter than the haircut I'd woken up with, slightly more effeminate. $80. $80, right? Plus tip. And the worst part for me was a kind of disturbingly sensual rosemary and mint infused scalp massage later, right? And no more high-end salon for me. No, I needed a barber. You know, I needed a good old-fashioned $12, wait your turn, take a little off the top kind of guy like I had back home, right? It took me a while, but I finally found him. Way at the other end of Bank Street. Sun-faded, swirling barber's pole led to a staircase, turned into a narrow hallway, humbly covered in decades-old carpet, worn down by thousands of pairs of dress, shoes, and work boots. And my new barber, my Ottawa barber, he's from Lebanon. His name is Nabil. He's a gigantic man. Hands the size of small family hams, I would say. And the first time I went in, I kind of by accident, I took my sweetheart with me, and she's beautiful, right? And so her dimples and her silvery curls, they bought me just that kind of street cred, you know, that a barely bicepped, mustacheless guy like me needs when about to be introduced to all the good old boys in the neighborhood, right? You know? I mean, maybe I'm just a soft-spoken young fellow with long eyelashes. Or maybe I'm one of those kind of women who can never land herself a decent man, hey? Why can't I find a decent man? Anyways, who knows what they were thinking, but at least my girlfriend was hot, right? So Nabil, he says, sit down right here, boss. He calls everybody boss, okay? And then he says, gentlemen, will you take a look at his lady friend? Is that not a beautiful woman? And of course, he gets no argument from me. And I'm not sure exactly what it feels like for her to be talked about in the third person when she's actually present in real life. Over here, discussions about just how attractive she is, but I know that we both just assumed that he meant well, okay? Now, some people would call this allowing your female partner to be treated as an object, trading on patriarchal standards of feminine desirability in order to garner favor in a male-dominated environment. Some people would call it that. I call it getting a cheap haircut. So after he was finished giving me the perfect haircut in a little under 15 minutes for $15, including a generous tip, he whipped that towel off from around my neck with a gigantic flourish, as he does, and he held up that little hand mirror for me to look at the back. And he said, there now. There you go. Handsome guy. Now, see, there is always a chance that at any point in this interaction, something, and it could be anything, is going to tip those scales, hey? And whoever I'm dealing with might all of a sudden realize that maybe I'm not exactly what they might have thought I was in the first place, whatever that was, right? And most people don't care at all. But some people care a whole lot, right? They might change their tone of voice. They might change their body language. They might change their mind about how much they like me. And oddly, I have little or no control over any of this. And okay, I know what I look like. And I know what some of you are thinking. And it's okay what you're thinking. Because it's true. I could go about my everyday, ordinary human business, and each and every time I interact with a perfect stranger, I could say, hello, my name is Ivan, and I need a haircut, or a car wash, or a library book, or a latte. And just in case you might be wondering? Because it's hard to always tell. I don't know if you're wondering, and I'm not really obligated to tell you that. Am I obligated? Okay, here's the deal. I am a predominantly estrogen-based organism. You may now proceed to treat me thusly, based on things like, I don't know, how much respect you have for women, whether or not you hate gay people, and how you feel inside about folks who, even when forced into a gender box, just, I don't know, refuse to close the lid. I could say all that, but that would be unwieldy. Now, I would never get anything done. I like to get things done, And that would be, it would be a definite overshare. None of their business, but mostly a definite overshare. So mostly what I try to do is I try to be personable. I try to be polite. I try not to assume anything about anyone. And I just hope for the best, and mostly the best is what I get. So right before I left Ottawa, I went in there for one last haircut. And Nabil, he went on at some length about where was my beautiful lady? And why was she breaking his heart? Breaking his heart! By not coming in more often to visit him. And he said to me, Ivan, I've always liked you. I don't have to like everyone. I'll cut their hair, but I don't have to like them, but I've always liked you. So I'm going to do you a favor. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to tell you where to get a whole leg of lamb. Best butcher in all of Ottawa. Okay? You cook a decent dinner for that lady friend of yours. Get a decent bottle of wine. You make sure she keeps coming back here to visit us. So I asked him, he was sweeping the back of my neck with that brush coated in Old Spice men's talcum powder. So I asked him, how long he had been married for, because it seemed like the, polite thing to say. He shook his head. He said, Me, no. I've been divorced now for 26 years. And I laughed out loud at him. I couldn't help myself, right? And maybe I laughed like a girl. Although I highly doubt it. Who can know what it was, right? But all of a sudden, Nabil, he froze. He froze in mid-step, and his eyes met mine in the reflection in the mirror. And this long second hung there between us, and then he shook his head, right? And he smiled at me, and he said, you tell that lady friend of yours to come back in next time she's in. You tell her I miss her. Tell her I love her. And then he whipped that towel off from around my neck with a flourish like he always does. And he let that chair down. And then he held up that little hand mirror for me to look at the back like he always does. But this time, you know what he did? He put his hand on my shoulder and he smiled at me and he said, there now. There you go. Now, aren't you beautiful too? Thank you.